Well, please be seated. Well, good afternoon. My name is Dave Douglas. It's my pleasure to serve as Dean of the Law School at William & Mary, and I'm delighted to see so many friends and family here to support our graduates. I really love today, the award ceremony. It's a time to celebrate the achievements of our students. We do have a few very special awards that will be saved for tomorrow, and then there are a few awards that were conferred early in the year that we won't necessarily come back to, but this is a great chance to touch a lot of the success that our students have enjoyed this past year. What are the rules of engagement? Well, let me just say this. This is a time of celebration. So clap and cheer if you want. Be dignified if that's your thing. But it's all good. So, and if you want to come down and catch a quick photo of your beloved, if you move quickly, that will work. Let me say, too, that when this ceremony is over, we will have a reception back at the law school that begins at 4:45 p.m. I hope that you will join us. We had hoped to have this over in the Wren Yard. We're not sure, but we think it may be a little wet later this afternoon. The weather gods did not cooperate with us, or at least they have so far, but we don't think they're going to cooperate. So, but do come back, if you will, to the law school. It's a great chance to interact with faculty and other students, and so I hope you will join us. We have a nice gathering coming ahead. Let me mention one other thing. Many of you may have noticed the gold mace here and may be asking, what in the world is that? And what's the history of that? Well, actually, it's got a pretty good history. First of all, let me say this about it. This was actually buried in the depths of the law school for a long time. And then at one point, we discovered it. And we said, we wonder what this is. And the early theory was it was a theatrical prop. Then we said, we should get somebody that knows something about this to offer an opinion, and we did. And it turns out it's got quite a history. In the 19th century, there were about 5 of these maces that were fabricated identically. One of them is still used in the House of Commons in London. Another one is this one. Now, so how did it come to William & Mary? That was the question. We found it. We found out what it was. And boy, this is really pretty special. How did it get lost? How did it come here? We think what happened was this. In 1979, we celebrated our 200th anniversary as a law school. And as part of that, we received a number of extraordinarily lovely gifts, particularly from England. I hope if you do come back to the law school, you'll go into what we call our Hickson Center, and you'll see these 2 beautiful stained glass windows of Blackstone and Sir Christopher Wren. Those were gifts. They were fabricated in the 19th century. They were gifts to our law school because of our connection with those 2 individuals. And they're really, really lovely, and they came at our 200th anniversary. Our theory is that this mace was given to us at our 200th anniversary, but we were about to move into a new building, and we said, we got to keep this and make it safe. So we packaged it up very carefully, put it away, and we put it away so well, this is the theory, that we didn't know we had it. And then we discovered it, and then we thought it was a theatrical prop, and now we know it's incredibly valuable. It comes out now once a year. Alyssa brought it in. Alyssa, you have the toughest job at graduation tomorrow because you'll be carrying this as we walk into the ceremony. Please don't drop it. We begin today's ceremony with Order of the Coif. Order of the Coif is essentially Phi Beta Kappa of the law school world. It's the highest honor that law schools confer on graduates. This year we will admit 23 students into the Order of the Coif. It's based solely on their grade point average, and in effect, it's the top 10% of the students based on their grade point average, rounded out as far as we need to go to hit the number that we can award. Coif was founded in the early 20th century. The Order of the Coif is a way to recognize student excellence in law schools, but its origins go back to the Middle Ages, and I want to talk just for a second about the origins. They're interesting. In the 14th century, a tradition had developed in England of elevating the most senior and exalted members of the legal profession in England to the rank of sergeant at law. Now, that term sergeant at law seems a bit odd to our ears when applied to a lawyer. What's up with that? Well, sergeant is an old French word derived from Latin that means servant. These lawyers were called sergeant of laws because they had a duty to serve all of the king's subjects. Now, as mentioned, sergeant at law was an exalted rank of the top lawyers, the best lawyers in England, and at times they would be commanded by the king to become a sergeant at law. It's quite an honor, but it came at the king's command. And there would be a ceremony to in effect, induct these lawyers into this order. At that ceremony, a number of things would happen, one of which was each of the new members would have a scarlet robe draped across their shoulders. The second thing they would have is they would have a little bonnet placed on their heads, like a little baby's bonnet, really. And that was known as the coif, was the little baby bonnet. And so fast forward several centuries, when American law schools are thinking about this sort of new order, this new way of celebrating the successes of students, Order of the Coif, reaching back into medieval England, became the name. So what we will do now is we will move forward and we will initiate our new members of Order of the Coif, and I'm going to ask Vice Dean Patty Roberts to come forward, and she will read the 23 names.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to these 23 new members of our Order of the Coif chapter. Please come forward when I call your name. Natsumi Antweiler. Samantha Becker. Brooke Boyd. Matthew T. Butler. Jennifer S. Carroll. Noah C. Chauvin. Galen R. Davis. Emma M. Dolgus. Bethany J. Fogarty. Elizabeth T. Foey. Corey E. Hall. C. Matthew Harrell. Megan E. Italiano. Evan D. Lewis. Kristen K. McCarthy. Whitney M. Nixdorf. Carly B. Robinson. Samuel Rouleau. Matthew K. Sarfan. That's some cheering section. Rachel L. Schumann. Rachel E. Sharp Stevenson. Matthew R. Strouser. And finally, Kyle M. Wood. Congratulations to our newest members. Okay. I was going to have you go the other way, but okay.
So next, I want to recognize our competition teams here at the law school. This is an important part of the students' experience, primarily through three competition teams: the moot court, the trial team, and the alternative dispute resolution team. I'm not going to call individual names of students, but rather I'm going to talk about the successes of each of the three teams. We are extraordinarily successful at William & Mary in this competition world, and I want to recognize our teams for their success. I'll start with our moot court. Moot court is the earliest, one of the earliest innovations in legal education. Moot court in American law schools, of course, begins at William & Mary, though it has antecedents back in 17th century England. It's a tremendous way for students to develop their analytical skills and their oral speaking skills. And we tend to do, as mentioned, extremely well in moot court. By example, moot court now, there is a ranking system where every moot court team in the country is ranked according to the success of their teams over the course of a year. Our teams have been remarkably successful. Last year, our moot court team was number 10 in the country. This year, they're number 8 in the country. Well, it turns out there's sort of a national championship, if you will. And the top 16 teams get to compete in the national championship. It's kind of like March Madness for lawyers. And this past year, we went into the final 16, ranked number 10. We advanced to the final round, the championship round, and lost on a 3-2 vote. But we will be back next year. Now, moot court competitions often have 20, 30, 40 teams, so it's tough to win a moot court competition. We had a number of teams win this year. We had a number of students win the award for having the best brief or for being the best advocate. So again, it's been a really successful year. Congratulations to the moot court team. Our trial team is another extremely successful team here at the law school. We have a lot of students compete in trial team. And once again, this year, they had an extraordinary year. They won many championships. In fact, one of the most special of the trial team competitions, it's one that's held in Pittsburgh. What makes it special is all the judges are federal judges. It's in the courthouse, the federal courthouse in Pittsburgh. The witnesses are actual witnesses and not just, they're people, tend to be medical cases, and they are physicians or others who are highly specialized, and so it's a challenging trial team competition to compete in. This is one of the most prestigious in the country. We won again this year, and I believe I am right in saying that we've won 6 of the last 10 times in this particular competition. And finally, I want to recognize our alternative dispute resolution team. This is one of our newer teams, but they're off to a great start too. They won a competition in New York, and perhaps most significantly, they competed internationally. They competed at a competition in Athens, Greece, against 54 other teams from around the world. They made it to the semifinals, and they also won the best advocate of the entire competition. Tremendous results for the alternative dispute resolution team. Now, there's a special honor each year called the Order of the Barristers for students who participate in these kinds of activities. And I'm going to ask the coaches of our trial team, the coach of our moot court team, to come forward and to read the names of the people that will be inducted into the Order of the Barristers based on their successful performance.
I'm Jeffrey Bright, and I am the teacher for the trial team, which has been quite a pleasure. For those of you all that don't know, we have 3 brand new light bulbs up here. So we can't see you because we're all blind. So I apologize if we're looking out for our students to walk up. And we're going to try to do this in some sort of an order. The first Order of the Barristers goes to one of the trial team's favorite students, Jennifer Carroll. And while she's walking up, I will start talking about Jennifer. Jennifer is, I believe, I'm correct in saying, the first female officer of the United States Navy aboard a submarine. And the team and whatever she said, everyone did it. And she won one competition this year and came in the semifinals in a very big national competition after that. Next is Evan Godstein. Where's Evan? Is he there? Evan got best in show. It's not really a dog competition, but in a very big competition, he got the top advocate award and was always on a team that made it to the semifinals or finals every time. So thank you, Evan. Next is Martin Page. Martin, I'm hoping you're here. There's Martin. Martin's job this year was to be the lead counsel for all of the 1Ls. So all spring, he taught next year's trial team and did a fabulous job. And so thank you, Evan. Next is Christina Romine. Where is Christina? Over the last 2 years, I think Christina has won 3 competitions, and she is as nice as she can be until she gets into the courtroom. And last from the trial team is our chief counsel, who did an amazing job. Besides winning competitions, he was in charge of the team for the entire year, Matthew Strauser. And I'll buy you a tie. And I get the honor of getting the award to the alternative dispute resolution, and Allison Brown, who went to Greece and did a fabulous job for us. And I'd like to call up Jennifer Franklin, who runs the moot court team.
Good afternoon. This was The team this year was probably the most successful moot court team that we have ever had. And as I call your name, come forward, please, and I will try to provide some of the highlights. Jonathan Barsky. Jonathan took our scoring to a whole new level. He inserted integrity and accountability and fairness into moot court competitions held at William & Mary in a way that, frankly, boggles my mind. And I'm hoping he's prepared somebody for next year. Dan Cohen. Daniel served as our development justice, primarily responsible for preparing our students for the oral arguments. He was also very successful in competitions, advancing at New York Bar to the national competitions. At the regionals, his team tied for first with the brief. By the way, they tied with our other William & Mary team. They won the regionals, and he was pronounced best oralist at the competition. Afton Paris. Is Afton here? There we go. Afton served as our moot court chief justice this year, but last year she served on our inaugural international space law team, and they advanced to semifinals. She was also on our team at Thomas Tang that won the regional rounds, or one of the two teams we had that won regionals and advanced to nationals. She was on a team that we sent to the moot court national championship, where they wrote the best brief and advanced to finals, and then she stepped in at the last minute and served on our ABA team this year. Okay. Kyle Wood. Kyle Wood. Kyle served on a West Virginia moot court team last year that won, and they won best brief. By the way, he served also with Jonathan Barsky on that team. And he joined Afton Paris at the Moot Court National Championship this year, and he was responsible for writing the Spong problem that the teams that came to William & Mary to compete used. Thank you.
Yes, back to you.
So before we move on, I just want to issue my personal thanks to Jeff Bright and Jennifer Franklin for the work that they do. Let me just say a word about Jeff Bright. He's an adjunct professor at the law school. He's also, frankly, one of the very best trial lawyers in Virginia. And he devotes an extraordinary amount of his time to our trial team. He's not a graduate of our law school, but he has totally embraced us, and his team is remarkably successful because of Jeff. And so, Jeff, I just want to say thank you so much for all that you do for us. It's been... And Jennifer Franklin, I want to thank you. You became the moot court team coach just a couple of years ago, and you're killing it. So I think we made a good decision on that one. So each of the honorees, of course, are now members of the Order of the Barristers, but there is an opportunity for a senior member to be inducted into the Order of the Barristers. And a couple of years ago at this ceremony, we inducted Jeff Bright as an honorary member of the Order of the Barristers. We're going to continue that today. We are going to induct into the Order of the Barristers Jennifer Franklin. What you don't know about Jennifer Franklin is before she joined the faculty here at our law school, she argued 75 appeals for the state of Virginia. And so she is a very skilled oral advocate herself, in addition to being a very skilled teacher. And we asked one of her students to speak just a bit about Jennifer and the work that she has done in her role. And let me tell you what she said. Jennifer Franklin has an unmatched passion for oral and written advocacy. She brings immense enthusiasm to everything that she does, whether it is coaxing 1Ls through their first legal writing assignments or coaching her champion moot court teams at national tournaments. At William & Mary, she has generated an ever-growing culture of success with the trial team and training every one of us in the finest details on how to effectively craft arguments for our briefs and how to effectively present them to the court. Since taking over the moot court program, she has led our team to compete at the very highest levels. Jennifer Franklin, it is our pleasure to confer on you honorary status as an Order of the Barrister. So we now turn to a number of academic awards based on the achievement of our graduating students. The first award will be the ABA State and Local Government Award, which will be presented by Patty Roberts.
For the students paying attention, you notice I'm not Linda Butler. Professor Butler sends her apologies, but she did send the selection for this award, which is for outstanding performance in land use and local government. The certificate from the American Bar Association section of State and Local Government Law is presented to Kristen McCarthy. Professor Butler sent along some comments. She said that Kristen is getting this award because she wrote a superb exam in land use, earning the top grade. Her exam demonstrated a deep understanding of the legal and policy issues involved in land use regulation and of the legal concepts used to resolve those issues. In addition, she was well prepared in class and always responded well to questions. Kristen is, in other words, an impressive student.
So my name is Nathan Oman. I'm a professor here at the law school, and I am going to be awarding the American Bankruptcy Institute Medal of Excellence Award. This is an award for outstanding achievement in the field of failure. And when I think of outstanding achievement in the field of failure, I think of John Fogel, who is the recipient of the award. So John is one of these wonderful students who asks you questions to which you do not know the answer, or points out places where you're making errors in the law as you explain it. He has an intuitive understanding of bankruptcy law, and I'm sure will be remarkably successful in whatever field he goes into. The actual award is in the mail. Congratulations.
Tired of me yet? Next is the ALI CLE Scholarship and Leadership Award. This is awarded to the law school student in the 2019 graduating class who best represents a combination of scholarship and leadership selected by the dean. Please come forward, Bethany Fogarty. Bethany is a new member of Order of the Coif who consistently ranked in the top of her class. She is on the staff of the William & Mary Law Review, and in moot court, she was Bushrod Tournament champion. In mock trials, she served as co-tournament counsel for logistics. She received the Cali Excellence Awards in both legal research and writing and civil procedure, and she was a graduate research fellow in the Institute of Bill of Rights. She also worked with the Public Service Fund. A little known fact about Bethany is that she serves as an umpire for baseball and softball games for players ages 8 to 18, even serving as umpire for the Senior Little League Softball World Series in 2016. Bethany is joining Wilcox and Savage in Norfolk. Congratulations, Bethany.
Our next award is the Carter Kaplan and Company International Financial Law Award. So each year we are proud to recognize a graduating student who exhibits outstanding work in the area of international financial law. Our international trade professor was not able to be here, so they chose the professor who knew the least about any kind of financial law whatsoever to give out this award, but I am proud nevertheless to call upon Emily Forenshell. And our international trade professor provided some remarks talking about how Emily was not one of those students who tries to answer every question and dominate classroom discussion, something we all appreciate. Whenever she had something to say, it was always relevant and insightful and thankfully concise. Every time she was asked a question, she showed herself to be prepared and knowledgeable. And beyond that, her comments demonstrated a deep understanding of the often obtuse and difficult principles underlying international trade law, as well as a certain creativity in applying the concepts. She was not just a model student, but a joy to have in class, and we're certain she'll prove herself to be a first-rate lawyer, whether in international trade or any other field. Congratulations.
My name is Eric Chasen, and I'm here to present the John E. Donaldson Award, this award is named after a much beloved and distinguished former member of the faculty, John Donaldson, and it recognizes the most outstanding student in the field of taxation. And so to be eligible for the award, a student has to have taken the basic class, also has to have taken at least 2 additional classes on top of that. Today we have 2 winners of the award, so I'm going to ask you to hold your applause until I can say both of their names. And the 2 winners are Stephen Andino and Mike Raposa. Both Stephen and Mike, they both took the basic federal income tax class with me. They also at the same time took corporate tax, which is usually not what people do. They took partnership tax also on top of that, and both of them did many things on top of that as far as their curriculum goes. Mike, when he graduates, is going to be an associate at the Boston office of Sullivan and Worcester, and Stephen's going to be clerking for the Honorable Vito Bianco of the New Jersey Tax Court. So congratulations to both Mike and Stephen. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lindsay Barna. I'm one of the instructors of the Family Law and Domestic Violence Clinics here at the law school. And my co-instructor and I, as well as the professors that teach family law, get together once a year and we decide who the recipient of the Family Law section of the Virginia State Bar and the Virginia chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers co-sponsor a Family Law Book Award to be presented to a graduating student at each Virginia law school who has demonstrated the most promise and potential for the practice of family law. The award consists of an appropriate family law practice book together with a certificate of achievement. And this year's recipient not only excelled in the classroom, but also showed a great deal of dedication and commitment to our clients in the domestic violence clinic. It's my honor to present the award to this year's recipient, Elizabeth Lester Abdullah.
The William Hamilton Prize is awarded for outstanding performance in legal history. And this year's award goes to Joe Cahoon for his paper, The Origins of the Unwritten Law. Although unfamiliar to us today, if you were living in America in the late 19th or early 20th century and someone used the phrase, the unwritten law, you would have known exactly what they were referring to. The unwritten law was the principle, rooted in contemporary notions of masculinity, that a husband had the right and perhaps the duty to kill a man who had committed adultery with his wife. Although it was never part of the black letter law of the United States, it was used to justify pardons and acquittals in murder cases. In his paper, Joe challenges some of the scholarship on the unwritten law. Joe went back to records of murder cases decided in the 1840s and 1850s, and through a close reading of the lawyers' arguments in those cases, demonstrated that some of the cases historians have identified as being the progenitors of the rhetoric of the unwritten law were not about the unwritten law at all. Joe argues from these readings that in their search for origins, scholars have undervalued the novelty of the 1859 Sickles case, which actually does seem to have ushered in something new with its arguments about the unwritten law. Joe persuasively argued for a shift in the legal rhetoric surrounding masculinity in the 19th century, and I'm pleased to present him with the Hamilton Prize. Joe, are you here? Or maybe not. We'll see.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Chris Abel. I teach the courses in Admiralty Law and Employment Law here at the law school. And through the generosity of John G. Crutchko, it's possible for us to award an annual recognition to the graduating student who's excelled in labor and employment law. The recipient is selected by the law school faculty who teach those subjects, labor and employment law, here at the school. And this year's recipient excelled in 3 different classes in that area: employment law, employment discrimination law, and employment benefits law. The 2019 recipient, who I will note it was a joy to teach and is an exceptional student, is Allison Brown. Please come forward, Allison.
The National Association of Women Lawyers Award recognizes a student who contributes to the advancement of women in society, promotes issues and concerns of women in the legal profession, exhibits motivation, tenacity, and enthusiasm, and earns the respect of the dean and faculty. Today's recipient has been active in the domestic violence clinic, handling concerns with care and grace, gave an amazing speech on intimate partner violence, and helped organize a comment letter drive on proposed Title IX regulations. And I also personally know that she is a pleasure to teach. Mara Shingleton, please come forward.
Don't go anywhere. It's my pleasure to give out the Virginia Trial Lawyers Association Award, which awards for outstanding skills in advocacy. Mara didn't get very far, has done an amazing job for our trial team. Everybody enjoyed working with her. Needless to say, she won a number of competitions. This award included major cash, so she's very happy. Mara, come on up.
Hi. Today, thank you. Today, we recognize 2 outstanding graduates and present them with the award for demonstrating exceptional intellectual engagement and commitment to the study and practice of health law. As these 2 make their way to the stage, I will tell you about them. Will Matt Harrell and Lana Bakovi please come forward? Or maybe just Matt. Okay. So, Matt. Less than 2 weeks into his law school career, I received an email from Matt asking to meet with me just to introduce himself and talk about how he might position himself for a career in health law, particularly given his public health background and his previous experience at the Mississippi State Department of Health. Since then, Matt has excelled in health law-related courses, always contributing significantly to the intellectual vibrancy of the classroom. But Matt has also been a leader in the larger community with respect to health law. He was a founding board member of the Health Law and Policy Society, a chair of the Bone Marrow Drive, specifically the Be the Match initiative, and a member of the moot court team who traveled to the National Health Law Moot Court Competition. The depth and the breadth of his health law study and impact at William & Mary is extraordinary. Well, Lana's not here, but I'm going to sing her praises for just a second for the record. Lana didn't come to school with a passion for in the health law space or commitment to it, but she found it while she was here, and she found it in a really big way. I witnessed Lana transform into one of the most passionate students of health law I have seen. Outside of class, she was always researching and working on critical questions facing the healthcare industry, and I really knew we were on another level when she came to talk to me about her ideas about the intersection of artificial intelligence and Medicare value-based reimbursement incentives. That is not an easy feat, folks. So, for her experience, coupled with her seemingly limitless intellectual curiosity, which is extraordinary, this is also awarded to Lana. But we are so fortunate to have you both as graduates and to honor you, and I wish you all the best.
Hello, I'm Sarah Riots, and I teach a number of intellectual property law courses at the law school. I also teach 1L tort law, so be careful there's no railings on the stairs. Now you're warned. Okay, so the William & Mary Law School Award for Excellence in the Study of Intellectual Property Law honors superior academic performance in the field of intellectual property law. Our recipient this year displayed strong academic performance in multiple IP courses, including patent law, copyright law, trademark law, and the IP survey course. Her interest in the area runs deep, and she also performed well in IP-adjacent courses, the Artificial Intelligence Seminar, Cybersecurity Law, and Food and Drug Law. Her note, titled Makeup Call, How Cosmetic Products Use Affects Women Absent Federal Regulation, was published in Volume 25 of the William & Mary Journal of Race, Gender, and Social Justice, where she served as an editor. She is externed with the college's Technology Transfer Office and was a summer research associate for the Center for the Protection of Intellectual Property in Arlington, Virginia. We look forward to following what will no doubt be a very successful career in intellectual property law. I'm very pleased to present the William & Mary Law School Award for Excellence in the Study of Intellectual Property Law to Gabrielle Enriquez.
Okay, so I'm back. But you know what? We're going to have a talk. There's a grand tradition in faculty meetings in law schools that you never sit on the front row. There's a grand tradition among law students, many law students, is you never sit on the front row. Now, what I got to tell you is there are empty seats on the front row. And I'm looking out there and I see some people that are standing. I just want to invite you. If you want to come and sit, please do. You don't have to. I didn't mean to embarrass you, but we do have seats, and so come down. The next part of the program deals with the work of our law journals. We have 5 law reviews at William & Mary. This is a very important part of our education. We have the William and Mary Law Review, the William and Mary Bill of Rights Journal, the William and Mary Environmental Law and Policy Review, the William and Mary Journal of Gender, Race, and Social Justice, and the William and Mary Business Law Review. These 5 journals published this year about 6,300 pages of legal scholarship. It's hard to imagine the number of site check hours that went in to produce that number. One of the marks of distinction of a law review for the family members here is how often are articles published in a law review actually cited by someone, either a judge or by a legal scholar. And the stature of a law review to some extent is measured by how often does the work that you publish get noticed and get referred to. So keeping in mind that there are literally hundreds and hundreds of law reviews in the United States, I want to tell you a little bit about how our journals do. The William and Mary Law Review is the 22nd most cited general interest law review in the United States. Our Bill of Rights Journal is the 2nd most cited specialty journal in the field of civil rights law and the 2nd most cited specialty journal in the field of constitutional law. The William and Mary Environmental Journal is the 2nd most cited specialty law review in the field of energy law and the 7th most cited in the field of environmental law. The William and Mary Journal of Race, Gender, and Social Justice is the 11th most cited law review in the fields of gender studies, women, and sexuality. And finally, the William and Mary Business Law Review is the 8th most cited law review in the field of corporate law, and business associations. So, in other words, they're publishing important work and doing a great job, and scholars want to have their work published in our William and Mary Law Reviews. If you have been a member of a William and Mary, one of our journals, would you please stand up? We will now convey certain awards on certain individuals for their work on the law reviews.
This is at Dave Height. I have to bring it down. Congratulations to everyone. This award, the Environmental Law and Policy Review Award for Excellence in Scholarship, recognizes the most outstanding student note published in the current volume of the Environmental Law and Policy Review. We ask Alicia Tybel to come forward. She is being recognized for her note, Waist Size, the Skinny on the Environmental Costs of the Fashion Industry. Alicia's note details the unsustainable production and methods and pollution that result from the fashion industry. It evaluates the prospects for integrating sustainable practices, including new design and production methods, such as life cycle analysis, as well as the need to change consumer norms and regulations. It is excellent and required reading before shopping at the outlets tomorrow.
The Thomas Jefferson Prize is awarded every year by the Bill of Rights Journal for its best note during their end-of-the-year banquet. Of the 8 notes already selected for publication in the journal, the Jefferson Prize is given to the note that best addresses a novel and timely issue in constitutional law in a clear and persuasive manner. The journal is proud of all the notes it has published, but the note receiving the award today has been unanimously chosen as the best among its peers, a truly impressive accomplishment. At this time, we would like Andrew Cunningham to stand and be recognized for receiving the Thomas Jefferson Prize for his note entitled A Cleaner, Crisper Constitution, Germline Editing and Fundamental Rights. Are you here, Andrew? We don't have anything for you. We're just, sorry. The note argues that an individual does not retain a fundamental right in using CRISPR germline editing to remove hereditary disease. In dealing with claims concerning this right, Cunningham concludes that the court should interpret CRISPR procedures through more specific elements within that right. Cunningham predicts that the court would ultimately defer to state legislatures and uphold their regulations in deference to the state's interest in protecting public health. To that end, this approach would allow the court to conveniently avoid the problem of answering the question of whether there is a right to create disability. Congratulations, Andrew.
Hello, I'm Professor Aaron Bruhl. I have 2 awards to give out on behalf of the Business Law Review. For both of these awards, the winning students will have their names engraved on a plaque that will be displayed in the law school. The first award is the William & Mary Business Law Review Best Note Award, and that award goes to James McClure for his note, Removal Without Approval. James, please come forward. James argued that previous judicial approaches should be discarded and that courts should instead permit corporate presidents to defend lawsuits in corporate emergencies without having to recognize a broader authority of corporate director consent. The note exemplifies the type of business law scholarship that BLR seeks to publish. Congratulations. The next award is the William & Mary Business Law Review Outstanding Member Award. This award goes to Chelsea Rimmel. Chelsea served as the managing editor of the Law Review, and here is what some of her colleagues say. They say she did a phenomenal job keeping the publication process on track and on schedule. Not only did she provide extraordinary services to train and motivate the newest members of the journal, but she also served as a friendly face willing to help at any stage. Chelsea helped the journal publish leading content and never faltered in executing her responsibilities. BLR owes much of its success to devoted editors like Chelsea. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Shepard. I'm the Associate Dean for Student Services here at the law school. I am not Professor Hamilton. She unfortunately was not able to be here today, but she does send her regrets as she dearly wanted to present these next 2 awards. These next 2 awards are given to students who served on the Journal of Race, Gender, and Social Justice here at the law school. And just as before, both students' names will appear on a plaque in the lobby of the law school. The first award is for Best Student Note, and this award recipient was selected as the Best Student Note by her peers on the Journal. It's my honor to award this year's Best Student Note Award to Lauren Oberheim. For her note, Selective Hearing, Communication Barriers in the Court System for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Victims of Rape or Sexual Assault, Lauren wrote a note that serves to inform the public of a very important distinction when it comes to members regarded as part of the deaf community. It points to societal flaws when it comes to the underreporting by members of the deaf or hard of hearing communities around issues of rape and sexual assault. The note focuses on the different ways members of these communities communicate, which entails much for them through American Sign Language, which is why it is very important to have their needs met vis-a-vis better laws regarding court interpreters to ensure crimes committed against them do not go unnoticed or underreported. Overall, it brought awareness to the needs of groups within our society that often go unnoticed and are often misunderstood. Congratulations, Lauren. The next award goes to the student on the Journal who will be awarded Outstanding Member, also selected by her peers. And again, it is my honor to name the recipient of this award, Elizabeth Kemp. Elizabeth helped bring attention to certain plagiarism issues that could have otherwise gone unnoticed on the journal. She made sure to keep the executive board updated about any issues or concerns and worked to diligently provide a record whenever an issue arose with a given staff member. She also lent a key helping hand during this year's symposium. For these reasons, and for many, many more, Elizabeth has been an exemplar member of Volume 25's editorial board and one of the journal's greatest assets.
I'm still Professor Oman. I'm also the advisor for the William and Mary Law Review, and I will be presenting the award for the best student note to appear in the William and Mary Law Review. So this year the award goes to John Bubka. If he could please come forward. John will receive a certificate, but more importantly, his name will be inscribed on a plaque in the law school to inspire students for generations to come. So his note was entitled Defining Unduly, Resolving Inherent Textual Ambiguity in the IMO's Ballast Water Management Convention. Now, the Ballast Water Management Convention mandates that ballast water has to be tested for invasive species before being pumped out. Ballast water is water in the tanks of cargo ships and other vessels. The testing provisions say that the test cannot cause undue delay for the affected ships, but unfortunately does not define what makes a delay undue. John's note argues that undue delay provisions should be interpreted using a geography-dependent standard, and whether a delay is undue should be determined by reference to the local capacities to perform the relevant tests. Congratulations, John.
We now move to another set of awards. These are awards for professionalism. Central to the educational process at William and Mary Law School is training students for professionalism. It's a crucial part of our ethos. It's a crucial part of being a lawyer. We want our students to have a powerful sense of acting as true professionals as they go out into the world. And our recipients will be honored or will be mentioned and presented by Anna Chasen of our faculty. Anna?
The Legal Practice Program chooses the Gambrell Professionalism Awards based on the student's overall two-year performance in all areas of the program's coverage, as well as the student's professionalism, public service, integrity, dedication to the improvement of lawyering skills, and actual improvement of lawyering skills. Each selectee will receive an inscribed Jefferson Cup and a certificate. The Gambrell recipients then become the pool from which the Spong Award is given to one graduating student who has excelled in all of the above criteria and was an outstanding participant and contributor to the legal practice program during their time at the law school. Will these recipients please come forward, stand on the stage, and remain on stage? Stephen Andino. Natsumi Antweiler. Bethany Fogarty. Christy Jeanette. Deborah Goodwin. Corey Hall. Elizabeth Lester Abdallah. Eric Lynch. Kristen McCarthy. Rosemary McGurk. Whitney Nixdorf. Victoria Pretlow. Michael Raposa. Rachel Schumann. Matthew Strouser. Tessa Tilton. And Kyle Wood. The Spong Professionalism Award is given by the Society of the Alumni of the College of William & Mary to a third-year law student who best exemplifies professionalism and ethics in the legal practice program. Will Whitney Nixdorf please come forward? A round of applause for all.
We now turn to the part of the program where we honor students for their service to the law school and outside the law school. As you probably know, service is a very important part of the ethos of our law school, and so this is a very important part of our awards program. The first thing I would like to do is to convey dean's certificates on about 20 students whose work inside the law school in support of the law school has been particularly compelling. Let me tell you this right off the bat. Very, very hard to make these judgments because there's so many students who have contributed so much to the law school. So this is always, for me, the hardest task I have as we come into this award ceremony. But these are the folks that I would like to recognize and ask them to come forward. Jennifer Carroll. Noah Chauvin. Andrew Cunningham. Galen Davis. Emma Dolgos. Alyssa Kaiser. Sarah Kaiser. Edsa La Paz. Alexandra Marr. Alexandra Mays. Zachary McDonald. Scott McMurtry. Jacqueline Miner. Marissa Morty. Jada Moss. Pauline Nywin. George Nwanzi. Afton Paris. Natasha Fidd. Kelly Rondinelli. Daniel Shin. Matt Strouser. Ryan Walkenhorst. Lindsay Whitlow. And Allison Wren. Thank you all. Thank you all for your service. Congratulations. The next awards are the Benjamin Ewell Awards. This is actually an award that is conferred by the entire College of William and Mary each year on a small group of students who have demonstrated tremendous leadership and involvement in community activities in supportive ways of the mission of the College of William and Mary. Let me say just a little bit of a word about the Benjamin Ewell Award. It has an interesting history. Benjamin Ewell was president of the College of William and Mary in the 1850s, 60s, 70s. In 1861, of course, the College of William and Mary, and Ewell was not in favor of this, found itself succeeding from the Union, and Williamsburg became basically ground zero in the Peninsula Campaign for the next few years. The college was absolutely devastated by the Civil War. And it would take years for the college to restore itself after the war. The war, in effect, had been a fool's errand for the college and for the country. But what Ewell did in the days after the college was closed, he would, on a regular basis, go out and ring the Wren bell to call the students who weren't here, but to call the students symbolically as a way of saying, we will come back. We will come back as a university. And so for those who have contributed so much to the college and to the community of Williamsburg, the Ewell Awards are presented, again, as a campus-wide. And we had 2 law students this year who have received a Ewell Award, and I'm going to ask them to stand. They have been recognized earlier. Eitza La Paz and Galen Davis. You know, the student organizations at the law school are so incredibly important. It's a way for the students to pursue their interest. It's a way for the students to pursue their commitment to service. And we have so many, I want to speak about service because we have so many student organizations that do an astonishing job with respect to service. And to that end, there's one organization I'm going to single out by name that is particularly robust in its commitment to service, and that is our Black Law Students Association. This group engages in an extraordinary range of activities every year, and I'm going to mention just a few of the activities, but I'm going to be skipping a lot. This year they had a speaker series to introduce students to issues in criminal law and how important those issues that are in American society. They had a number of community events, a number of service events where they reached out to students in local schools, where they reached out to boys and girls clubs, where at Thanksgiving they gathered more than 4,000 cans of food for the hungry in the Williamsburg area, an annual symposium every year on crucial areas of law. And so congratulations to BOSA. If you are a member of BOSA, if you would stand up and be recognized. One of the ways in which our students serve is through our legal clinics. And we will now present the Clinical Legal Education Association Award, and this will be presented by Patty Roberts.
The Clinical Legal Education Association Outstanding Student Award is given for excellence in field work in their clinical course and also the seminar component. It also considers the nature and extent of the student's contribution to the clinical community at the student's law school. This year's award is going to Jacqueline Miner. Jacqueline was unable to attend today, but I just want to tell you a few things. Like, she took a total of 15 credit hours in clinics, in the Elder Law and Disability Clinic and in the Puller Veterans Benefits Clinic. She did a very complicated conservatorship accounting for the Elder and Disability Law Clinic. The difficult auditor that she worked with forced her to redraft the accounting 4 times, but she was not deterred, and she finally had it accepted for her client. In the Puller Clinic, she worked with a client who had a service-related major depressive disorder, traumatic brain injury, and also another client who had experienced military sexual trauma. She was able to obtain benefits for both of those clients, also resolved a veteran's complicated debt issue, volunteered with the Veterans Treatment Court, and helped train claims agents working for the Virginia Department of Veterans Services. In all, she put in over 600 hours of work for her clients in the clinic, and we are grateful.
One of the oldest student organizations at the law school is the George Wythe Society. It's an organization that exists to uphold the values of George Wythe, who was our first law professor beginning in 1779. And I would now like to invite this year's president of the George Wythe Society, Daniel Urena, to come forward and to present your award.
I didn't make it to the president. I was actually the secretary, but we'll go with it anyways. Good afternoon, everyone. As many of you know, this law school strives to foster a spirit of service and citizenship within everyone who walks through our doors. And the George Wythe Society Award is actually intended to honor an individual who has really taken the idea of being a citizen lawyer to heart. And in choosing a recipient for this award, we look for someone who has been driven to serve not only within the legal field, but also outside of it. And so we found someone who embodies that spirit of service. We found someone who worked in the Veterans Clinic, someone who served as a court-appointed special advocate, representing those who can't stand up for themselves. We found a volunteer firefighter who will be joining the Navy JAG Corps this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you the George Wythe Society Citizen Lawyer Award to Jessica Fetzer. Thank you, everyone.
The Honor Council is one of the most important student-run organizations at the law school. It protects and nurtures the climate of trust and integrity that is central to the law school's life. The Honor Council this year has been very ably led by a graduating student, Alex Mays. Alex, I'm going to ask you to come forward. And I'm going to read the names of the members of the Honor Council, and Alex will hand you your certificate. William Brown. Jennifer Carroll. Noah Chauvin. Danielle Makia. Michael Raposa. Kelly Rondinelli. Hannah Sherman. Evan Tucker. And Daniel Urena. Again, thank you all for your service, because your work is incredibly important to the fabric of the law school. We will now turn to our Special Education Advocacy Award.
Good afternoon. My name is Christina Jones, and I'm the director of the Pele Special Education Advocacy Clinic. I'm pleased to present this award. In recognition of outstanding service to children with disabilities and their families through the Special Education Advocacy Clinic given by Claire Maddox, class of 2005, and Robert Ribble, in honor of Evan and in memory of Brooks, for a graduating student who has shown a dedicated commitment to special education law and the rights of children. This year's recipient is Emily Leonard. Emily, unfortunately, is not with us today, but I am still going to list some of her accomplishments. Let me tell you a quick story about one of Emily's cases. Her client was a middle school girl with disabilities facing severe bullying, leading to her threatening suicide. A gifted writer, Emily quickly and thoroughly penned a masterpiece of a demand letter seeking an emergency transfer to a different middle school. The parent had similar requests repeatedly denied, but within hours of receiving Emily's letter, the district granted the transfer. This kind of response is unprecedented, and it drastically altered this child's trajectory. Emily was also able to help us convince the district that the child needed special education services, and today I am happy to report she is thriving. Emily embodied the same level of commitment and execution in all of her cases, serving as a mentor to first semester students in her second semester, often sending them detailed guidance documents without any prompting. Even after her time in the clinic officially ended, she continued to volunteer, given her great commitment to these families. Emily has been awarded a very prestigious Equal Justice Works Fellowship, where she will undertake a 2-year project at Disability Rights Texas, helping students with disabilities receive the services they need to be successful in school and in life. It is with great pride I bestow this award on Emily.
The law school's student government organization is called the Student Bar Association, or the SBA, and it does remarkably important work for the law school each year. Alyssa Kaiser led the SBA this year with great skill and accomplishment. Alyssa, thank you so much. And you now will hand off the mantle to Rebecca Yeager, and I'm going to ask the two of you to come forward as we confer awards on those who have served in the SBA.
Dean Douglas kind of took my spiel about what SBA was, but I just wanted to share a little bit and say that it really has been a pleasure to work with all of these students. Honestly, there's a lot that happens publicly, but also even more behind the scenes, and so I really just want to extend my congratulations to these students. When you hear your name called, please come to the stage to be recognized. Wanabad. Curtis Boggs. Jessica Fetzer. Miranda Gilbert. Rihanna Keenan. Aitza La Paz. Jose Laverne. Hannah Littlefield. James McClure. Anthony Anuha. And Lindsay Whitlow. Congratulations, team.
We have two final awards to confer, both of which will be presented by one of our faculty members, Rob Kaplan. Professor Kaplan, if you will come forward to present these final awards.
So you put a podium in the front of a room with a teacher behind it, and so the inclination is to ask a question. So I'm going to ask a question. Who in here knows what the Yiddish word verklempt means? I'm not going to call on you. Verklempt means sort of waves of emotion rolling over you or upon you. And when I think of the service accomplishments of this class, I feel verklempt. I feel all these emotions rolling over me, and I'm sure my colleagues on the faculty administration feel the same way. So the first distinction I want to talk about is the Presidential Management Fellowship Program. It recognizes outstanding graduates from master's, doctoral, and law programs nationwide who have a commitment to public service. The program is the federal government's flagship initiative to develop a cadre of potential leaders. The selection process is extremely competitive. This year, over 4,000 candidates applied, and a mere 7.8% were selected as finalists. 4 of those finalists are members of the William & Mary Law School class of 2019. Lauren Allen, Christopher Everett, Alyssa Kaiser, and Eric Lynch. Please stand so we may congratulate you. In keeping with William & Mary's citizen lawyer tradition, the law school confers certificates on graduates who've distinguished themselves through volunteer service to clients, organizations, and causes that better their communities. The class of 2019 has a record number, 84, of community servants. They tutored children, mentored teenagers, and taught adult learners. They collected food, clothing, books, and toys for the underprivileged. This year's community service assisted people in regaining their right to vote. They helped conduct fair elections by staffing voter hotlines. They actively participated in campaigns across the political spectrum. The environment is better because of these individuals. They devoted time and energy to preserving our natural resources. These graduates made their communities safer by prosecuting offenders, and they also safeguarded the constitutional rights of indigent criminal defendants. This year's honorees secured relief for clients who faced eviction, risked losing their children, were the targets of unfair employment practices, or were the survivors of domestic violence. And these community servants literally saved lives through blood drives and the annual bone marrow drive. Now, I'm mindful that I'm the next to the last person staying between all of us in the reception, so I won't read all 84 names, but they're listed on the back of the program. Class of 2019 community servants, please stand so we may congratulate you.
Well, that brings us to a close of this award ceremony for the great class of 2019. Let's conclude with one final round of applause for all of our graduates. And let me invite everybody to come back to the law school for a reception. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you tomorrow.